It's close to my office, so that's probably what I see up there. That's actually where the office is staying. Yeah. Right. Yeah, you see it.
My back.
Yeah.
You ever talk to Chad?
I will.
You ever talk to Chad?
I hope I don't offend
How much?
I think the wind.
Went to the dollar store yesterday.
Yeah,
Well, some things are done, but then there's other things, $1.25. They went up. I said to the lady,
I think I've got it. That's it. Yeah, I've got two. Never passing it out.
It's there are different shops at Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and the Dollar Store, which is Dollar Store, that's not Dollar.
Yeah, you got everything.
As long as the insurance is pointing or something.
It looks like you had the cellar in there. Yeah, you know. Let's mention the 50 gallons that's in my book.
It's a bigger problem.
Oh, you're going to see accelerants all over.
No, I was just going to say.
Yeah, but that won't do anything for them. We can't force them to live because they're going to be all sunset. Did you have a good birthday? Well, what's it feel like to be 40?
Good. It's time to get started. Time now is 7 o'clock. We're going to call our meeting to order. Please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, might I have a roll call vote, please?
Zach Tucker.
Here.
David Walker's absent. Herman Ferguson.
Here.
Jennifer Eden. Here. Kurt Schultz.
Here.
Mike Cunningham.
Here. No approvals, no changes to the agenda. So next is the consent agenda, the regular board meeting minutes from January 18th, 2022. The treasurer's report from December 31st, 2021. Clerk's warrants and bills dated January 27th, 2022.
I make a motion to approve it.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, communications. We have the fire service report. One item only.
Move approval. Support.
Been motioned and supported to receive and place on file fire service run report. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Next is time for public remarks. If anybody has anything that they would like to address to the board regarding any of the business that's on the agenda, this is the time to do it. Item number one, Bob Zott, our state rep, is here. He's going to be talking about the Mott Community College, and he'll be taking questions, I'm presuming it. Is that right? Yes. So if anybody wants to wait for Mott Community stuff, We'll take question and comment at that time for that too. So if anybody has any public remarks. Being that there is none, we'll move on to unfinished business. We have none. Moving on to new business. Item number 1, we have state rep from the district normally known as the 47th district. Bob Bizak here. And Bob's going to talk, there were some concerns about this Mott Community College assessment that people are paying, and I contacted Bob to come speak with us, and he graciously accepted and was excited to be here, so.
I haven't seen you guys in a while, so I appreciate the opportunity to come down and talk to you. I know this is an important issue for a lot of the residents here as well. And what I found out when I got your email, your 4 questions I sent to Michael Simon. Is he the guy from Mott College that you had down here talking to you?
Larry, yeah.
Larry or Lauren, that's what.
Okay, well, Mike Simon, Derek Robinson is our staffer up there. Between the 3 of us, I've been trying to get, he promised me an email by the time today rolled around. I got some information for you, but the one big question that I haven't got an answer for, and I'll cover that in a minute. Precinct 1 is in Linden's district, and there's a Community College Act of 1966, PA 331, MCL 389-1, where they include districts into community colleges, like precinct 2 and 3 is in Fenton School District. So if they adopt or if they have a millage, then it'll come in the 2 precincts in the Tyrone Township. If Linden has one, it only comes into the 1 precinct. Heartland doesn't have a community college millage. So they're not paying what, and this was first adopted back in 2001 to 2003. There was a vote in 2016, I don't know if anybody recalls that, whether the townships and the precincts in Tyrone Township voted for that, yes or no. Obviously Genesee County is going to overwhelm your vote. That's the simple
exactly
truth.
what happened.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So the more I find out about this, then the key question is that many people have is, okay, how do we get out of it? And I was told the attorneys are researching that. We've got a staff up there, and that's the main question that when Herman and I talked about it, that's what you asked me, and I haven't got an answer for that. I was promised the answer by today. I do have the in-district tuition. I'm sure you guys know about the in-district tuition versus the out-of-district and then out-of-state. And you do save quite a bit of money if you decide to attend my community college. But that doesn't do any good if you haven't got anybody actually attending that college. And it should be a choice of the township, in my opinion. There should be a way for you guys to opt out of this if you don't want it. But you're dealing with 2 different school districts here. There would have to be 2 different votes, one for Linden and then one for the Fenton School District, the Linden School District. He did tell me it's very complicated to get out of it. So it sounds like right up until 2016, do you guys remember that being on the ballot?
Yes.
Okay, I called Betsy Hunley and she confirmed that, what we already knew, but she confirmed that this all started back in 2001 to 2003 and then was voted on in 2016. So, and the millage, as you probably already know, is, I think, 0.064 per 1,000 home value. So that's what I found out. I can leave this with you, and I can call Mike when I find out if your residents are interested in getting out of it.
Yes, they are.
Okay, I can find out. He did tell me it's very difficult to get out of it, but there is a process.
Yeah, so once you get that information, please forward it to me. I will definitely share it at a meeting, unless you were inclined to have the time to come back and
No, I'll
address
come
it
back.
again.
As soon as I find out, I'll
Sure.
come back. I was hoping to have it by today, but I hadn't planned on coming until your next meeting, so I thought I had time.
Sure.
And then I decided because my buddy Dave Domus is going to Florida, I wanted him to come.
You didn't have to tell me.
So I wanted him to come up, and he's got some dear friends here. if you don't already know, I know Mike knows, and I talked to Herm about this, but Tyrone Township is now gonna be in Genesee County's district for the redistricting maps. So you'll be, your state representative at that time, starting January 1st, will be Mike Mueller. So you'll see Mike Mueller's name on your ballot instead of yours truly. In Tyrone Township, even when I was sheriff, you guys treated us fantastic. So I was a little disappointed. They gave me part of Putnam Township, most of Putnam Township, which is, you know, a good community as well. So it's a win-win for me, but I miss Tyrone Township. So I don't get to harass Mike or Herm anymore, or Dave Walker. But I can leave this information with you. You can go over it if you have any questions. You can
While you're here, if you wanted to let the residents ask any questions that they might have
Yes.
pertaining to this, and since they're state rep, maybe some state questions or stuff, I know Scott's probably gonna have a question for you, he's already.
Well, I'm the one for bringing this up. I'm a troublemaker. Okay, Bob, I don't necessarily think we need to get out of it. I don't work up in Lansing.
Right.
If you look at the map I gave everybody,
Yes.
there's a map of districts that all around the state in certain areas are getting drawn in. Listen, I have not a problem with funding schooling. I mean, I'd like to see pre-K. I mean, we got a lot of working mothers out there that would help, okay? My daughter went to state, but I've been thinking, if you say I know we got into a long time ago, I'm paying $338. Now that's gotta about be like $6,000. I mean, that little discount that they're giving me ain't nothing. 60 years old, I don't wanna go back to school, I'm 64.
Right.
Okay, so it doesn't mean nothing to me. But I would like to see it go right along with school funding, maybe the first 2 years after high school, and get these kids through, you know, community college if it's there. Because I do know my nephew has a friend over in Lake Shannon, that they're in Heartland School District, but they're using mine. But they're saving a little bit. We paid 10 times or 20 times that amount of the discount already.
Right.
And I'm never gonna use it. Like I say, I'm not saying opt out, I can't speak for everybody. But you might want to talk to some of the residents in the area, but we just want it more fair. These people in the other areas are using the community colleges. Get some skin off of them. Maybe reduce ours a little bit, and a little bit of the reduction from us we can put in the roads. I'm not saying don't give it back to me. The township can use it.
What I thought was kind of interesting, Scott, like if you're in district tuition is 185,
Yeah.
and you know if you go out of school district is 185, in school district is like 140.
Yeah.
So you save $40 per credit hour.
Yeah, but like I said, a lot of people don't use it.
Right.
Okay, but you know what? I don't want to shut Mott down. I don't want to shut the community colleges down. I'm confused because the gentleman here, he couldn't answer a lot of questions that came from Mott. He said it was a for-profit, and I don't like to be funding a for-profit university. Okay, if it's a nonprofit, fine. But I want to align this as a 501c3 nonprofit. So I don't know if that's right, but that's what the Google says. Okay, while you're here, I don't want to ask you another question later. There's another thing on the agenda, I don't know if I've asked them about, I know other people want to ask questions, but the Huron Valley thing, we're paying $25 for Huron Valley parks.
For the
Okay, I pay $11 on my license plate, I can get any state park. I'm paying $25 for Huron Valley,
yeah.
and I gotta pay to get in it. I don't think that's right, and I'd like to see the township get that money. I'd like to see you work on that too, please.
Okay. One thing that I found out, being a police officer and retiring, is I didn't worry about taxes or anything like the township, you guys probably did, but there's a lot of hidden stuff. Like, I didn't realize that my college could, until Herb called me and told me, I didn't realize they could do that. They could district, Linden District and then the Fenton District. Heartland doesn't pay a dime. But I'm sure they, like you said, Scott, they use Mott Community College, Lansing Community College, the Howell District. There is a Mott Community College, I guess, campus in Howell, where I found out. But, if you're residents, you'll have to go to a vote. But one thing I want to keep everybody in mind is, I don't know if that goes back to a ballot vote for Genesee and the township. I don't know what that process is yet.
Yeah.
If it's just your township, then you probably have a chance to get rid of it.
Yeah, but what'll happen is they'll send back on a ballot initiative, and it'll be the whole
Genesee
Genesee.
County, yeah.
So they'll draw Fenton schools in, and they'll draw Linden schools in, and the people who live in those precincts will.
And that's where you're gonna get, even though you don't have a majority of your people in Tyrone vote against it, Genesee's gonna overwhelm you with their vote.
Well, that's what, so I said, I'm not totally against it, I just like to see it across the board. If it's working, let's get everybody involved.
Well, if you look at this, you know, the Community College Act, 1966, PA 331, it's got that, it'll tell you how they do that, how they got that passed.
Yeah, well, that's a long time, we can change. How are you gonna change it, like,
Well,
I guess you want to see what the people want, I guess.
I was thinking we could review that and see, you know, why and how you can deal with this once they've,
You know,
they've implemented the millage on Tyrone Township.
let's see, like, you hit the nail right on the head. It's been here for how many years?
Yeah.
And nobody knows.
2001.
I mean, nobody knows they could use this or use that or have this, I mean, nobody knows.
Now, being an old cop, I've learned a little bit on this as well. You know? So, but I'll leave this with Mike, and then as soon as I get the answer, I get it before your next meeting, I'll call you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
And any questions?
Got more questions back here.
Yeah, there's some more
For you,
questions.
Mike. What does Tyrone Township pay annually to the Mott Community College?
We don't pay anything.
Through the taxes, what you collect for them?
Oh, she collects the taxes for them, so. Do what the disbursement is.
Nope, I can get that.
We can get that for you.
It'd be great, 'cause I know
Yeah.
Fenton pays $940,632.
I know it's a lot.
It's almost $1 million.
Yes.
And I called up and they wouldn't extend any of the benefits to any of my employees. I don't need to go to college, I'm already established.
All your residents are paying that 6.64.
So are the businesses, aren't they? Aren't you, isn't your business paying that?
Twice.
There you
My
go.
holding company and my business.
How much is that costing you a year?
The one's 3 something and the other one, I don't know, they kept telling me it was really no big deal, it was only like 0.86, but, and it all adds up. And I don't mind paying into it, but
Aren't you
man,
getting
I gotta
that
get something on a
around
dollar.
12,000?
478.
We're 12,900,
So you're
just
13,000 when you,
just under 13,000.
when you add all that up, that's quite a bit of money.
Yeah, it's over $1 million for a profit.
If it's a
Organization.
problem.
Yeah.
And we gotta look into that whole, they can consume us with votes.
Well, I'll get you guys
The
an
big
answer
cities
as
just
far as,
overrun all of us.
and come back at a future meeting. If it's not your next Thursday meeting, it'll be the first one in March, and I should have an answer on how you get out of it. Okay?
Right,
And I'll call you, Mike, as soon as I have that.
great, appreciate it. Before you sit down, did anybody else have another question?
I'm
I
sorry.
have a question,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Actually, I have two. So I'm confused, so we're in Livingston County, but we're Tyrone Township, so do we pay for those? We're Heartland Schools.
No, you do not.
No.
You're in precinct 4?
I'm sorry,
Are you in precinct 4? Harlan?
Yes,
I'm on.
Yes.
yeah, you're precinct 4.
Yeah.
We're right on the line.
We're in a weird.
Harlan and Tyrone down Old Forest Road.
Before, I don't think pays, right?
No.
Into the lot.
No, if you're in Heartland School Districts, you do not pay.
We're Heartland Schools, yes.
Right.
And my other question is, this is just something, I don't know if anyone else knows, but it was something that certainly bothered me and him, as much as we pay into these taxes.
Right.
We called up to the school because we were wondering if like our employees could have any benefit, you know, as much as we pay into it. There wasn't any. And then we found out from one of our employees that they are giving checks to their students for $750 if they're vaccinated. And that is certainly not something
Yeah, and
we would support,
Yeah.
you know, intentionally.
Right.
you gotta be masked up and vaccinated and all that.
The school's giving the students 700?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got people that work for us, they're supposed to get a credit of $750.
Yeah.
But they got a check.
Carrying checks.
Well, when Simon calls me, Michael Simon from Mod, I'll ask him that too.
And that's concerning because that's really
Yeah.
pretty discriminatory
Yeah,
to
we
money.
don't-
So that's, and you know what, $750 to a student is, might as well be 10 grand.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot of a carrot getting money from
I
these
wish
kids.
my school gave me that. That's the one I
Yeah,
asked them.
that's a medical decision. That shouldn't be right.
Fill up your tank 3 times on that.
Back then, my gas was like 25 cents.
Well, you just dated yourself.
That date's better.
I'm telling your age.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to business number 2, the request of the treasurer to attend MMTA Institute for Training and deputy treasurer. This is an annual training that occurs. We budget for it.
I make a motion to support and send.
Second.
It's been motioned and supported to send the deputy treasurer and the treasurer to the MMTA Institute for Training. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those in opposition? Motion carries. Next is the release of PEG funds to the school. Jennifer, do you want to talk about that?
So, every year, the FEC, which is Fenton Area Cable Television Consortium, they take requests from our schools, Fenton City, Fenton Lake, Fenton, Linden, Heartland, and we've added Southern Lakes and Parks and Recs. So every year they can give us a notification of what they need. We do have a PEG coordinator, Randon, and he goes around and he makes sure that this equipment is being used, how it's being used, and it is for the classrooms and it's for studies. It's not for the administration office to have a brand new computer, that sort of stuff. So the allocation for this year for all 4 schools, Southern Lakes is not asking for anything at this time, is $142,000, and Tyrone Township's portion is $32,364.31. And that is just based on the percentages that each of the municipalities get from those PEG funds, from the cable TV.
I'll tell them what the PEG is. Public education grant.
Oh, yes. Public education grant, yeah.
Yeah. So the PEG fees, they're a public education grant. It's a fee that's charged to the cable providers. We set that money aside. It can be used for educational purposes only. So that's why they come to us and ask us for the grant.
Move we approve. Support.
It's been motioned and supported to release the PEG funds to schools. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those in opposition, motion carries. Next is item number 4, the 2023 budget discussion. We're starting our budgeting for next year. A couple of things that I've jotted down. Herman and I both have talked about a generator. I have somebody supposed to be getting back with us for a rough estimate of what we need to budget. But the emergency backup generator for the township. So we're gonna look and probably get a figure for that. So if the board's interested in doing that, I'll go ahead and get that budgeted in. Another item that needs addressing is when we bought the building, we knew we had to do the other half of the parking lot. We got a big hole out there right now, and it's not getting any better. So the parking lot needs repair and to be repaved.
This front end you're talking.
Yeah, the front half repairs. The other half is fine. We'd like to set some money aside for the old townhouse for roof, steps, whatever, just in case the funds aren't raised and it gets moved. So we have that ready to go. Roads is another one. We've already preliminary agreed to do Runyon Lake Road from Center to Foley Road, to reconstruct and repave that. And then from Center Road on Old US 23 to Linden Road. And then our road supervisor is going to suggest a couple of gravel projects for us to do. So I'd like to budget for that. I know that the repaving projects are $338,000 and some change, which will be our out-of-pocket cost.
Not to exceed.
Yeah, not to exceed. And then we have a couple of elections coming up. We'll know exactly how many by end of next week. So we're going to budget for those. And did I leave anything that we have talked about over the last year that needs to be done, that we should budget for? Is there anything else?
You said the pump station generator.
Yeah. we do need a backup generator for the Nymphy Road pump station. I'm thinking that's a great use of ARPA funds because it's infrastructure and that's what it's allowed for. It's, if I recall, $65,000 for the generator. And then also too, we're gonna have to budget, the Apple Orchard Estates, they have a retention pond that's been flooding. They've been working a couple of years now with design on putting in a new drain, a county drain, and we will be assessed a portion of that per the drain code. So we'll have to pay that, so, we'll have to put that in a budget and set it aside. I don't know if it's gonna happen this year or next year. As we get closer to budget time, I'll be able to know for sure. And I know that they still have a few litigation going on with an easement or two. And so thinking maybe next year, but just letting you know, it might be on this year's budget, so. Other than that, everything will be business as usual.
I make a motion to.
Well, there's just more or less a discussion. So as I put it in the budget, we'll go over it again.
Okay.
We'll do a review of the budget, the general fund part, once I have it prepared. And then, once everything looks good, then we'll adopt it in March.
Does the drain count as infrastructure?
Yes.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah, so that could possibly be ARPA funds that, I would hope that we could get the number and just pay it off rather than pay the assessment over, 10, 20 years. That way it'll be cheaper for us and save the interest on it.
Mike, I have a question about the generator for the building.
Yeah.
You and I just talked about maybe FEMA, if we use this as a warming center, could we get any grants at all from the federal government on that?
There's a possibility.
Cots.
Yeah, we might have to have cots or something. I'll have to look into it and see what the golden lasso is with that, or, for lack of a better term, because usually when you start getting federal grants, there's stipulations that they want, and, is there a value proposition for it, or if, if we do have somebody that needs to take a shower, let us know. We've got a shower in the back, we can, clean it and let you use it, and, if anybody needs to come in here and use the computer, we always have free Wi-Fi, it's in the parking lot, and, we're not gonna leave our residents hanging, so.
I know we talked about that, like a few years ago when they had a big ice storm, a week without it.
Right.
Really, there wasn't anything, I know some schools, like the Ryan School, opened up the schools
Sure.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think once we get the generator in,
Yeah.
we can have that discussion. But, what they're trying to determine now is because we have two different services that come into the building.
Mm-hmm.
If they can do it off one generator, it's two. So they had an electrician come out, take a look, walk the building, take a look at it, so.
Okay.
So next, so we're done with the budget discussion.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 5, resignation of Clerk Marcy Houston. She presented us last week with a letter of resignation. We hate to see people go, and Marcy's done a fantastic job for us. She actually helped streamline some of the election processes and some of the budget processes, and help us with some new spreadsheets. And we're going to wish her well in her future. And as much as we like to keep her, you can't go against somebody's wishes. So we can, but it's not going to stop her from showing up. It just means that we have to pay her still, and she doesn't have to show up. So, thank you for your service, and so we have to do a resolution to accept her resignation.
So resolved.
Support.
Regrettably supported.
So, Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Kurt Schultz,
Yes.
Herm Ferguson,
Yes.
Zach Tucker,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham.
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
Regretfully, yes.
and
letter of resignation. It was kind of odd if you voted against it. But stranger things have happened. So miscellaneous business, we have none. Moving on to public remarks. If anybody would like to make a comment, please step up to the podium.
There's a smile, thank you.
Yeah. In the local paper, I noticed that our esteemed rep, who I guess will be losing from this area, Bob Bazat, had a no missed, what do I want to say? Of all the votes, he was there for all of them. He missed none. That's what I'm saying. So I guess we're getting Mike Bueller, and Mike come up with the same thing. He missed nothing. So they're both well, Bob's better, but unless we turn around and get him back.
I'm here, you had to say that.
What's that?
I said, I'm here, you had to say that.
Yeah.
I paid for that.
Yeah. Can I ask a question about this marijuana thing at this point in the township?
What's the question?
Well, like in the paper, again, they had a thing from Rose Township and how they're dealing with it. And the people that are the caregivers or whatever have to live on the premises, and the outbuilding that is being grown in, okay, has to be on that same piece of property. But the people that are gonna do this, when I was at this last meeting, there was some guy that was older than me, and I'm sure he isn't gonna do it, but he had someone speaking for him, remember that? Yeah, that guy's not gonna be out here. Why can't we have something in the paperwork that says, you know, the people that own it have to be the ones that do the caregiving, just like you're doing in Rose Township, because I don't want it there at all. You know, and I still like to see somebody jump up and do something about it.
That would require an ordinance revision, which it can be done. But also I'd like to check the law to see if we can legally do that.
Okay, but when I was in here at the last meeting, you know, I've been in the hospital and everything else since then, so I think there's been plenty of time to do that.
Right. Even though they've got their application in, even if we change the ordinance, they've got it in before. So we can't deny that on that term, even if we changed it. Because their application is in before the ordinance change.
Well,
So you just can't wave a magic wand, change the ordinance and say, gotcha.
I don't believe we had an ordinance at that time, did we?
Yeah, we've had an ordinance for.
Okay, then why didn't they apply for an ordinance?
No, they're applying for a special land
Well,
use.
special land use, yeah.
Yeah.
They never did, they just went ahead and started growing marijuana.
Yeah, we found out about it and we.
Yeah, you have to find out.
We threatened them with court action if they didn't come in and go through the process.
There's a lot in between there you're not mentioning, but, you know, I know the state police were out there and the township sheriffs, and if it wasn't for the neighbor who lives up on the hill, they'd still be doing the same thing. Why are we giving them any special favors when you can't even trust these people? So,
They're not getting any special favors.
you don't think so?
No.
Okay, they started doing something illegally,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're letting them do it legally as long as you don't do a legal court sue or whatever, then they'll go along with the rules.
They're not being treated any different than any other person in the township.
I
So if
understand that.
you're in violation of an ordinance, you've had some issues where.
I've never been on the wrong side.
Well, you've had issues where DEQs come out, right?
Yeah, and there was nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an idiot neighbor, and his daughter's a drug addict, and I don't want any more damn marijuana or any other drugs in our township.
Oh, I understand that.
That girl has been on that crap since she was a kid.
Right.
Yeah, still lives at home at 40. Okay, now, do we want our whole township like that, a bunch of stoners? I don't. So, I mean, anybody that's here that will jump up and do something, I wish you would.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Being there, oh, go ahead, Scott.
First of all, Scott Beaker, White Lake Road, a couple of things about coming. We talked, and I know I asked you about the park, you know, the fees for the park, I'll look into that. One more issue I'd like to have you look into is, we brought it up, I don't know if you can, is cable in this area. We don't have no competition, and we were told that it's pretty much tied up. You guys can't do anything in that. We get a little more competitive. I mean, they broke up AT&T. I mean, we gotta have one company or that's it. If you don't get fiber optic, you don't have a million houses in your area.
We had a broadband
Yeah.
to bring in more companies, more competition, competition. And the governor vetoed that bill. So she says she's in favor of it.
Yeah.
If you listen to her speech the other day, she said she was in favor of broadband, but she vetoed the bill probably last July, last August, in that time frame.
So at least you gotta get you guys together and try to, I don't, listen, I don't wanna go back and forth, because, you know, I just like to see you guys work together. But this is something that cable's getting outrageous.
Well, it did pass through the House.
Yeah.
You know, with bipartisan
Yeah, I know
support.
everybody's got their own little problem, we know that.
The west side of the county is the same
Yeah.
as the northern
But
part.
it seems like in this day and age, I mean, I know a long time ago, did the phone company and stuff like that. There's no reason we can't get a little more competitive with our cable companies.
I agree.
Who
Who do you have up there?
Charter, and I think it's.
Well, the county's working on a broadband initiative too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I still haven't seen what their plan is yet, because they're still trying to figure it out.
All right. I just got one more. Marcy, you and I, when you came, we've had a lot of good talks. And we sat down and talked, we argued a little bit. I mean, I hate to see you go, I hope you're not going on bad vibes. I mean, some stuff was said, there's stuff said by other people, but that's government, and that's politics, and that's the people. And people, I might be wrong, but we're not, I don't like to say we're attacking the government. I like to say we're speaking up as residents. We might not know everything, but we're questioning. I mean, maybe I threw some stuff out there, maybe we all have, but you know, I mean, but one thing we never want to do is we never want to shut people up. People have a voice, people should be heard. You know what I always said, and I've argued with a certain person about this, I don't like censorship. Turn the person around. If they're wrong, show them they're wrong. That's all we have to do, right? If I might be wrong, come on, tell me I'm wrong. Show me. I'm not. I don't want to kill nobody. Don't get me wrong. You know, but show me. I got a lot of issues. You know, I'm the only one that talks. Somebody has to. I mean, this is like just like this tax. I mean, I've been griping about it for years. Finally, I've been on that way. I mean, you know, just it's not that I don't want to pay it. I just think it's all put into the pie. You know, I mean, we're not all going to put the same amount. Let's all put something, whatever, you know. And I agree. I want it's all for the kids. We got to take care of our kids. I don't want to pull nothing away from anybody's kid. So, okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott. Anyone else? Yes, Jeanette?
Jeanette Lopetta from Fuller Drive, and on behalf of Tyrone Township Watch. I didn't hear, Marcy, when's your last day?
March 15th
March 15th, okay, cool. And are you going to be here for the other meetings
for the meetings. Yep.
that are scheduled? Okay, then I'll wait till then, thank you.
Okay.
Steve Hasbrook, 803 Fawcett Road. Mike, you had mentioned ARPA funds for a generator for one of the pump stations.
Mm-hmm.
You said Nipsey Road, but that may be intended to be going to Northwest Pump Station.
Could be.
There isn't one there, might want to just.
Well, I know we have a pump station that's a generator.
That one,
Yeah, thank you.
one, but, you know, the county was gonna be getting those with the ARPA funds that they have.
Yeah, they put in a request for the county for that, so we'll see if they get it or not. But we've had conversation with us in Heartland that we're gonna look at using our ARPA funds for generators so that they could use that money and apply it to other projects. Which will ultimately help the O&M costs in the future.
I thought there was some changes to what ARPA fund money can be used for, and that they were gonna allow it to go out for road repairs too.
Yes, that's what we understand.
That would be
We'll have a final discussion on that at a future board meeting, so yeah, but that's what we hear for now.
be better for the township as a whole, in my opinion. Especially when they can use ARPA funds through the county to do that generator. So, at least that's my opinion.
That's not a bad opinion.
And obviously, you clearly should have one at this building. I'm surprised you guys didn't get it put in when you had all the renovations done.
Yeah, we had a budget that we were working within, and we had a few things to do here. And
That should have
we
been
didn't want
at
to
the top of the list, not at the bottom.
we didn't want to drain our bank account in the event something popped up. So, but now we
Probably,
goes back up.
should probably recall the pop-up that you have over there at the other building when the pipes froze and ruined the interior.
Well, I'm glad you clarified it, because there were a lot of pop-ups at that whole building.
Backup power is pretty critical.
It is.
So power goes out around here a lot,
Yeah,
so.
we're addressing it.
All right, thanks.
Yep, thanks, Steve. Final shout. All right, I got one last one that needs to be read in. This one's from Sarah Dahlman, Jersey. It's a letter that she wrote. When Marcy Husted, our clerk, announced her resignation last week, it pushed me to think about where we've been and where we are headed. I think it's fair to say that for all of us, it's been a challenging year. There have been a lot of ups and downs, bumps and bruises, relative to township matters and community involvement. These movements were layered with the complexities of life outside of the township office walls as we juggle family, jobs, pandemic, life, loss, ever-changing guidelines, regulations, unforeseen health challenges, and more. Still, here we are together. We live in the same community as neighbors. Here we are trying to learn how to work together, community and leadership. Things have been said, mistakes have been made, personal lives have been impacted. But there are two words that keep coming to front of my mind, and those words are growth and trust. Trust is something that we must be cultivated and earned. Although I believe trust to be a work in progress that is very much moving a better direction, we all still have space to grow. In an effort to grow, I'd like to publicly say to Marcy and our township board that I personally apologize for any moment of contention in which anyone felt attacked personally through the Facebook page named after our nonprofit, RCP. Our mission, volunteers, voices, and policies continue to evolve to be best selves, and I'm happy with where we are headed. We cannot achieve our mission of civic engagement without open dialogue. Furthermore, Marcy, I'd like to thank you publicly and directly for second chances and an open mind. I'd like to thank you for your services to this community and for your help getting Curtis Elmore's beautiful painting displayed in the township office lobby. It looks incredible. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for the quilt you've donated and your interest in supporting our historical society. I want you to know that even though your life is taking a different path than when you had the path than what you had planned, you've made a positive difference as Tyrone Township clerk. This is what community is all about, and I'm grateful for your service. In fact, there's not a single township board member who hasn't spent time working for good, contributing to fundraisers, suggesting helpful ideas, attending meetings, drafting documents, or making phone calls for the best interest of our community. Fair is fair. If we can question and complain when things are wrong, we certainly can celebrate the good. I've seen a distinct change in recent weeks and months, and I feel compelled to recognize that change and thank all of you. Again, this is what the community is all about. We aren't perfect, not one of us. We do better when we know better, and I choose growth. I choose growth, hoping that it leads to earned mutual trust, that we are here to build a better community together, residents and those who step up to lead. My best wishes to you, Marcy, in future endeavors, and my sincere gratitude to every board member choosing growth and focusing forward on the positive differences we can make. Sarah Dahlman. So I thought that was nice. She did the effort to write that. So we'll close public remarks, and I'll entertain the motion to adjourn.
Support or make a motion.
I support.
We have motion and supported to adjourn our meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
On the floor. I'm probably going to be on the plane right now.
I was gonna talk to you, remember?
Fortunately, we live in a community that we have great people. I know when we lost Keith, I was all about